6:45 on a very snowy evening here across western New York, Rochester in particular. We got ourselves our first winter storm warnings of the season. How about that? Winter weather advisories are now no longer in effect. That upgrade took place about an hour ago. Our friends at the National Weather Service office in Buffalo making that upgrade. Now, right off the top here, obviously we love it when folks say hello. These Facebook Lives to me are so much more valuable when we utilize some of your reports, not just me talking about what we see on radar, but do me a favor in the comments section here. Let me know what you are seeing, light snow, moderate, heavy snow. Give me a ballpark of about how much snow you think you've got at your location, and please include your location as well. All of those reports help us piece together the puzzle here of what's going on out there. We like to connect the dots with what radar looks like too. Radar often does a pretty good job at telling us how intense snow might be, but uh-oh, I see somebody said spell check. What did I do? Yeah, I did. Look at that. Winter Watorm warning. Can I change that? I bet you I can't do that until after the fact. I don't know what a winter Watorm warning is. That's what happens when you type fast. It's a winter storm warning, not a winter Watorm warning. I'll have to correct that after the fact. So my apologies with this. All right, so we got some reports coming in here. Whiteout in Ontario, about 3 inches at least just this afternoon. We got snow in Greece near Charlotte, windy and blowing snow. I can certainly attest to that. About 4 inches in Rochester so far. That comes in from Maryland. Thank you. Snowing like crazy in Webster at this hour. John says about 5+ in Gates right now. So we're getting awfully close to half a foot. Yeah, I think that's about fair here. I think a lot of places in and around Rochester are largely looking at between 3 and 6 inches of snow so far. Penfield, 5+, but coming down fast. Yeah, very granular snow. These are not the big fluffy snowflakes. If they were, oh man, we'd be having a lot more accumulation than we're seeing. Fairport, moderate to heavy snow. It's covered as soon as you plow or shovel. Heavy snow at Port Gibson. Hello from Ashen. I see Bippin says hello from Lee County. No snow there in Lee County. That is for sure. All right, so let's do this. Let's get this tour going here. A couple of spots that we can stop on the tour guide. This is the view from the Charlotte Lighthouse right now. You've got a frozen over Genesee River and visibility down probably about a half a mile, I would speculate. We can take it. We call this our pinnacle sponsor shot from downtown Rochester. This is actually better than it was a little bit ago, but you're clearly under a mile at that point too. Farther to the south, getting into the Finger Lakes, this is a live shot from Canandaigua as we continue to watch that snow cover. A little closer shot to home in Rochester, Blue Cross Arena. Snow-covered roadways there, and that has been the case for the last couple of hours. So we'll do some radar analysis here. For everybody kind of commenting on this, give me a few minutes and we'll take you on a tour of what's going on. We'll come back and address some of the comments or questions here. We're all pretty much socked in with the snowfall, but what we're noting now are multiple bands of heavier snow that are setting up here, and I want to highlight a few of those. This is significant snow. This is probably 2 inches an hour snow rates. This is in Wolcott. You're going to go along 414 south of 104. I think the drive on 89 as you go southward towards Savannah, for example. That is not a whole lot of fun right now. Those deeper echoes now extend southwest, crossing over the thruway that goes toward Phelps, Geneva, just east of Canandaigua. That is affecting you in Rushville and Naples across southern Ontario County. We got a pretty good pop of snow with this as we go into southern Livingston. So band number 1 is going to be pretty much this guy right in here. And as we put this in motion, there's a little bit of progress of this dropping more off to the south in time. We're not going to get this band to backdoor its way into Rochester. We will note in Rochester that some of the echoes are lightening up. That's not lightning like bolts of lightning, but lightening as in not quite as heavy. We don't buy the notion here that there's a dead spot of snow. That is not going to be the case, but it is not as heavy as it was here. And you see how this is starting to fill back in a bit out over the lake. This is going to be the batch that pivots southward toward Rochester in the coming hours. So my point being, I don't think we're going to really change the dynamic of what it's doing right now. Now, I've got my eyes on the backside of this. This is going to be the final hurrah of snowfall here. And you note that it's still snowing in places like Buffalo. So with each passing hour, this backside is going to make subtle progress off to the east. And what our job is going to be into the night tonight is to track how slowly or how quickly that back edge starts making that pivot farther off to the east. I am of the opinion it's going to be slower than some of our higher resolution models think, which could lend itself to multiple more hours of snow. Remember, we've been advertising this as a long extended period of snowfall, which I think we're still kind of in the middle of. I don't think we're at the tail end of this per se just yet, and we can back this out even farther, and you can see the overall spin in the circulation. This is all courtesy of the nor'easter. That's really unraveled here. This thing is not deepening anymore. It's winding itself down, but still very much an influence on our weather here. Now let's talk travel impacts here. We talked about this at 6 o'clock. We are not at a point here tonight where we're sitting here telling you don't go out. We don't have a foot of snow on roads, and you've got to have the chains out, or you've got to have, you know, a four-wheel Jeep Wrangler to be able to get from point A to point B. That is not the case, but I do think we're at a point here from now through about midnight where you need to ask yourself, you know, how important it is for you to have to go out. Are you just going out because you want to grab a bite to eat for dinner? You got to go to the grocery store. Roads are not great, and a lot of the crews are going to be out there favoring primary roadways especially, which in cases like this, especially when it's everybody's snow getting it, secondaries get neglected and they start piling up here. So it's doable, but the question you should be asking yourself is, do you want to? After midnight through about 6 a.m., as that snow starts to slowly taper off, we think crews will get a chance to start to keep up better. They'll start hitting those secondary roadways. And the goal is by tomorrow morning's commute at 9 a.m., most of those issues should be gone. So 7:30, which is about 30 minutes from now. Now I want you to look at this. Remember what I showed you with the back edge of snow? In reality, that snow is here. So this computer model is, in my opinion, a good 20 or 25 miles off with the back edge of the snowfall, which should buy us another maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of snowfall versus what it's going to display here. You see how it takes the backside at about midnight to 1 o'clock and gets it out of Rochester. So if we're going to add a few hours on top of that, maybe it takes until 3 or 4 before that snow finally starts to peel its way off to the east. That will inevitably happen here. Early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., this looks good here, but do we still have leftover snow here? Probably. Wayne County could still be included in that too. We'd be looking at you in Ontario and Yates, and that's where some impacts could continue into early tomorrow morning. It's no surprise. That's where we have some of the higher snowfall totals out of this. Now, our snowfall map, we're pretty proud of this one as a team here. This has undergone very little changes, just small fine-tuning here. To be clear on this, this is not additional snow. This is how much snow we expect out of this in totality by early tomorrow. So you've got a lot of that already on the ground now. This in conjunction with several more inches still falling. The overall notion here that Rochester is a pretty good demarcation zone on half a foot. Areas on the west side of town here, a little bit less than that. Areas on the east side of town, a little bit more than that. So places like Pittsford, Penfield, Fairport, Victor, the east side of Henrietta, you stand to see more 6 to 9. Areas on the west side of town like Ogden, Riga, Chili, Greece, Parma, you're more liable to be under that 6-inch mark. So downtown Rochester right about on that borderline between a half a foot and not a half a foot. We're actually going to warm this up, if you can believe that. We'll melt some of those inches away Thursday, Friday. Highs get to about 40. Watch the Arctic air. That's that pink color. We get another glancing blow out of this into the weekend and early next week. There could be some system snow with that. We're also liable to have some lake effect snow with that. Got to see the flow. If it's a southwest flow, I'm more worried about places like Buffalo and Watertown, areas generally east downwind of those lakes. If this ends up being more of a northwest flow, that's what Rochester would get. But right now it does appear to be more of the southwest variety. So we would get cold, but maybe not a ton of snow, at least locally, out of that. We'd have to watch like Genesee and Wyoming counties. We'd be looking at places like Batavia and Wyoming in a setup like that. Drop the highs down into the teens by Monday, Tuesday, with temperatures dropping back into the single digits. Michael says at least 6 inches on the ground right now in Parma, coming down good. Just got done shoveling. Sue says, keep in mind it always snows at least once in April. Ain't that the truth? Stephanie, yes. Stephanie, admittedly, I think if you're Seneca Falls bound, they're probably not entirely done with the snow tomorrow morning. So the start of your drive, if you're leaving from the Rochester area, should be okay. But there, you might run into some of the leftovers of snow by that point, so keep that in mind. Wow, 8 to 9 inches already in spots in Phelps and falling steady. Rose says about 6 plus already. Downtown Rochester again, Andrew, we see on either side of about half a foot by the time this is done. 4 to 5 inches in Palmyra. Thank you for that report. Kimberly in Tampa Bay, I would speculate. Kimberly is reporting a 0.0. 5 inches in Honeoye Falls from Tiffany. Hello, Amy from Chile. Not much snow in Niagara Falls. Isn't that something? Yeah. West is drier with this, and then you got this shot from downtown Rochester. All right, I got to wrap this up. We got to record some stuff in the studio, so I'm going to say goodbye. We will be back on here for a Facebook Live at 9:30. Next newscast is 11 o'clock.